The sea was a black void. It stretched out endlessly, swallowing the last rays of sunlight. The air was thick with salt and fear. Dr. Hussam Juma, alone in his small boat, felt a chill run down his spine. He was lost. Dr. Juma had never felt so alone. The vastness of the ocean was both beautiful and terrifying. He knew that he was fighting for his life. The sea was unforgiving. It showed no mercy. Dr. Hussam Juma was a man of science. He was a respected doctor, a man of logic and reason. But he was also a man of deep faith. He believed in the power of prayer, and now facing his own mortality, he clung to his faith like a lifeline. Dr. Juma had always found solace in the ocean. It was his escape, his place of peace. He would often take his small boat out, drop anchor and fish. The solitude was rejuvenating, but this trip was different. This trip was a nightmare. The day had started like any other fishing trip. The sun was shining, the water was calm. Dr. Juma had set out early, eager to enjoy a few hours of peace and quiet. He dropped anchor and cast his line. The gentle rocking of the boat was soothing. For a while, all was right with the world. Then, without warning, there was a sharp crack. Dr. Juma's heart skipped a beat. He knew that sound. It was the sound of his anchor line snapping. His lifeline to the world above was gone. The current was strong. It was relentless, a force of nature that showed no mercy. The waves crashed against the small boat, each one more powerful than the last, as if the sea itself was determined to swallow it whole. It caught the small boat and dragged it away from the safety of the shore. The shoreline, once a comforting sight, now became a distant memory, fading into the horizon as the boat was pulled further into the vast, unforgiving ocean. Dr. Juma fought against the current, but it was no use. His muscles ached, his hands raw from gripping the oars, yet the sea's power was overwhelming. Every stroke seemed futile, every effort swallowed by the immense force of the water. He was at the mercy of the sea. The vast expanse of water stretched out in all directions, an endless blue that offered no refuge, no escape. The isolation was profound, the loneliness a heavy weight on his shoulders. Fear gnawed at the edges of his mind. He had to focus, he had to survive. The thought of his family waiting for him back home gave him strength. He couldn't let despair take hold. He had to find a way to endure. As darkness fell, the waves grew larger. The night brought with it a new level of terror. The blackness of the sea blending with the sky, making it impossible to distinguish one from the other. The boat was a mere speck in the vast, dark ocean. The small boat was tossed about like a toy. Each wave threatened to capsize it, the water crashing over the sides, soaking Dr. Juma to the bone. The cold seeped into his very core, but he held on, refusing to be defeated. Dr. Juma clung to the railing, his knuckles white. His grip was the only thing keeping him anchored, the only thing preventing him from being thrown into the churning sea. His mind raced with thoughts of survival, of finding a way out of this nightmare. He recited verses from the Quran, finding strength in his faith. The words were a lifeline, a connection to something greater than himself. They brought him a sense of peace, a momentary respite from the chaos around him. He would not give up. Determination burned in his eyes, a fierce resolve that kept him going. He thought of his loved ones, of the life he had yet to live, and it fueled his will to survive. He would not let the sea claim him. No matter how powerful the waves, no matter how dark the night, he would fight. He would endure. For in the heart of the storm he found his strength, and with it, the hope of seeing another dawn. The night seemed to stretch on forever. The darkness was all-consuming, broken only by the phosphorescent glow of the waves. Dr. Juma was exhausted, his body racked with cold and thirst. Just when his hope began to dwindle, he saw it, a light, a faint glimmer in the distance. Could it be? Was it real, or was it a figment of his exhausted mind? He squinted, his heart pounding in his chest. The light was real. It was growing brighter. Someone was out there. He was not alone. The roar of an engine cut through the darkness. The night was eerily silent, save for the rhythmic thumping of the boat's engine. The vast expanse of the ocean seemed endless, a dark abyss stretching in every direction. The Coast Guard patrol boat moved with purpose, its crew alert and ready for action. They'd been searching for hours, their eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of life. The tension was palpable, each passing minute feeling like an eternity. A searchlight pierced the night, blinding Dr. Juma momentarily. The beam of light was powerful, cutting through the inky blackness like a knife. It swept across the water, illuminating the waves and casting eerie shadows. Dr. Juma squinted against the brightness, his heart pounding in his chest. He had been adrift for days, his hope dwindling with each passing hour. The sight of the searchlight was both a blessing and a curse, a reminder of how close he was to being found, yet still so far away. He shielded his eyes, his heart soaring with relief. The realization that he might be saved washed over him like a wave, bringing with it a surge of emotions. Tears welled up in his eyes as he watched the searchlight move closer, its beam growing brighter with each passing second. He had been through so much, enduring the harsh elements and the constant fear of never being found. But now there was a glimmer of hope, a chance that he might make it out alive. It was a Coast Guard patrol boat. They had found him. The vessel approached with caution, its crew members ready to spring into action. Dr. Juma could see the silhouettes of the rescuers, their figures outlined against the bright lights of the boat. They moved with precision and urgency, their training evident in every step they took. The sound of the engine grew louder as the boat drew nearer, its powerful presence a beacon of hope in the darkness. He was going to be okay. The thought echoed in his mind, a mantra that kept him going. He smiled, a genuine expression of relief and gratitude. The ordeal was almost over, and he could finally let go of the fear that had gripped him for so long. The rescuers reached out to him, their hands steady and reassuring. He grasped them tightly, feeling the warmth and strength in their grip. It was a lifeline, a connection to the world he had almost lost. The Coast Guard crew pulled Dr. Juma from his battered boat. They worked quickly and efficiently, their movements synchronized and practiced. Dr. Juma felt a surge of gratitude for these brave men and women who had risked their lives to save him. They lifted him onto their vessel, their hands gentle yet firm. He could feel the exhaustion in his bones, the weight of the ordeal pressing down on him, but he was safe now, in the capable hands of his rescuers. He was weak and dehydrated, but alive. The days adrift had taken their toll on his body, leaving him drained and fragile. The rescuers provided him with water and blankets, their concern evident in their actions. They spoke to him in soothing tones, reassuring him that he was safe now. Dr. Juma could barely muster the strength to respond, but he nodded weakly, grateful for their kindness. He knew that he had a long road to recovery ahead of him, but he was ready to face it. He was rushed to the hospital where he received treatment for exhaustion and exposure. The ambulance ride was a blur, the sirens wailing as they sped through the night. The medical team worked tirelessly, their faces a mix of concentration and compassion. They monitored his vital signs, administered fluids, and kept him warm. Dr. Juma drifted in and out of consciousness, the events of the past few days playing out in his mind like a nightmare. But he was in good hands now, and he knew that he would be okay. As he lay in the hospital bed, surrounded by the sounds of life, he knew he was one of the lucky ones. He had survived. The beeping of the machines, the murmur of voices, and the soft hum of the air conditioning were all reminders that he was still alive. He thought about the others who might not have been as fortunate, and a sense of gratitude filled his heart. He had been given a second chance, and he was determined to make the most of it. The road to recovery would be long, but he was ready to face it with courage and hope. As Dr. Juma recovered in the hospital, he underwent a series of tests. He had been through a traumatic experience, and the doctors wanted to make sure there were no lasting effects. One test, an ultrasound, revealed something remarkable. Dr. Juma's kidney stone, the one he had been scheduled to have removed, was gone. The doctors were baffled. There was no medical explanation for the disappearance of the kidney stone. Dr. Juma, however, was not surprised. He believed that his ordeal at sea, his prayers and his unwavering faith had something to do with it. It was a miracle. Dr. Hussam Juma's story is a testament to the power of the human spirit. His journey is one of incredible resilience, unwavering faith, and the sheer will to survive. Lost at sea, facing his own mortality, he never gave up hope. For days, he was adrift, surrounded by nothing but the vast, unforgiving ocean. The sun beat down mercilessly during the day, and the cold, dark night seemed endless. He clung to his faith, found strength in prayer, and ultimately survived against all odds. Each prayer was a beacon of light in the darkness, a reminder that he was not alone. His faith gave him the strength to endure, to keep fighting, and to hold on to the hope of rescue. His story is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. The sight of the rescue ship on the horizon was a testament to his perseverance and faith. It was a moment of triumph, a validation of his belief that he would be saved. We all face storms in our lives. These storms can be literal, like the one Dr. Juma faced, or they can be metaphorical, representing the challenges and hardships we encounter. Some are literal, like Dr. Juma's experience. The physical and mental toll of being lost at sea is unimaginable, yet he endured it with remarkable strength. Some are figurative, challenges that test our resilience and resolve. These can be personal struggles, professional setbacks, or emotional battles. Each challenge is a test of our inner strength and determination. But no matter the storm, Dr. Juma's story reminds us to never give up hope. His rescue was not just a physical salvation, but a symbol of the triumph of the human spirit. It showed that with faith, perseverance, and hope, we can overcome even the most daunting challenges, to keep fighting, to keep believing, and to never underestimate the power of the human spirit. Dr. Juma's journey is a powerful reminder that no matter how dire the situation, the human spirit is capable of incredible feats. It is a story of hope, faith, and the unbreakable will to survive.